Chapter 1. Don't underestimate the common of a power man. Power of a common man. It is a big day for Vijay. He is pacing around the room continuously. He's a little bit tensed, and his face says it all. He has been waiting for this moment for a very long time, and today his destiny is going to be decided. The moment his manager opens his cabin doors, everything is going in slow motion to Vijay. It is as if time has stopped running. The manager announced something and left the room. Vijay is still in shock. He didn't even properly hear what his manager said. He just rewinded what exactly happened a few seconds back, and that is when he realized he has become the youngest manager, and not just his branch manager, but a manager to the entire Asian division in the history of Company X. If someone would have told Vijay that he will become the youngest manager a year ago, he would have laughed at them. Because a year back, on the same day, Vijay decided to quit his job. He joined Company X with a lot of dreams and aspirations, and he is into sales and marketing. He has to sell Company X's products to the customers. He has to make calls, understand the customer's needs, book an appointment, and then explain about the product and should make the customer buy it. He used to make hundreds of calls every day, but only a few people used to respond, and out of those few people, not even a single customer used to buy the product. There is a weekly revenue target of 2 lakhs, which Vijay has to fulfill, and a monthly target of 8 lakhs. If they find any employee not achieving the targets for 3 continuous months, then that employee will be fired. Vijay used to work for more than 12 hours a day, but got no luck in sales. Once in a while, he used to have 1 or 2 sales with a lesser ticket size of around 50k or 70k. His manager made his life a living hell because Vijay's performance affects the manager's appraisal as well. He used to pressurize Vijay a lot to get sales. He used to feel so stressed that he couldn't sleep well thinking about the next day's calls and manager's scolding. This went on for a few weeks, and Vijay decided to quit his job. Just when he was about to enter his manager's cabin to submit his resignation letter, someone dragged him into the men's toilet and beat him black and blue. That person didn't even give Vijay a chance to fight back and took his resignation and fled away. Vijay couldn't even see him as that person was wearing a helmet. Who is this mysterious man? Why is he beating Vijay? What is their relation? Will Vijay be able to catch the helmet guy? Chapter 2. The Uninvited Guest. Vijay seems like a common man, but he's a vengeful person. He couldn't tolerate some stranger beating him like that. So he decides to find that helmet guy at any cost before leaving the job. Every time Vijay gets rejected by a customer, this helmet guy appears out of nowhere and punches him and knocks him out. Surprisingly, no one ever saw that helmet guy apart from Vijay, and even the CCTV failed to capture him. One day, Then Vijay was so frustrated about his sales, manager's scoldings, and the mysterious helmet guy who was hurting him. The helmet guy appears in front of Vijay. His name is Mr. K, and he tells Vijay that every time Vijay messes up his sales, he will appear to warn him. So every time Vijay gets the thought of resigning the job, somehow Mr. K appears and gives him a good beating. Vijay understood that to save himself from those beatings, he shouldn't quit his job. Being even more frustrated, he continued working and making calls. He lost interest in his job and just started making calls for namesake. One day, Vijay calls his customer and starts pitching the product directly. While he is trying his best to make the customer buy the product, Mr. K enters and disconnects the call. Vijay gets very angry and fights with Mr. K. He overpowers Vijay and asks him, did he ever empathize with his customers before selling the products to the customers? Did he ever understand whether the customer really needed that product or not before pitching it? This term empathy seems really new to Vijay. He doesn't understand what K is talking about. Why does Vijay have to understand the customer when he is selling his product? All he needs to know is whether the customer has a child who is in school or not. If the customer has a child, then he can explain to them about how well their product helps their kids and make a sale. So why do they need to understand the customer's needs and all? Chapter 3. The Tool to Achieve the Infinity. Mr. K starts narrating a story to Vijay by asking a few questions.
There is a cafe called Brewberry in a college where all Chinese, Italian and Indian food is available. Apart from the college canteen, if students have to eat something delicious, the only option they have is coming to Brewberry. By the way, the college is a residential college and there are no day scholars. They have great facilities in the hostel like mineral water filters on every floor, good rooms and a sports complex as well. A lot of students visit Brewberry and the sales are going pretty well. But the only dissatisfaction to the owner is not even a single student comes to Brewberry who buys a water bottle. The owner buys a big batch of water bottles, but no one buys them, and the owner cannot even return them to the water company. He knows that everybody needs water while eating something, yet no one is buying his bottled water. Why do you think so, Vijay? Why are the students not buying the water bottles?
Is it even a question? No one in their right mind would buy water when they can get it for free in their hostel. And that too, students who have limited monthly allowances would like to spend their money on food rather than a bottle of water which they can get for free of cost.
So, how would the brewery owner avoid the loss with these water bottles?
He should have asked the students why they are not buying any water bottles when they are ordering food. And the students would have definitely told him that they have free mineral water in the hostels itself. Initially, he didn't bother asking students' needs and took a decision on his own. And now, he's trying to sell the bottles though they don't need them at all.
Then, don't you think you are doing the same with your customers as well?
So, you're comparing a water bottle case with my amazing product which helps the students improve their performance in academics, isn't it?
Mr. K once hits Vijay and tells him,
People these days have become so conscious that they are not even taking a free product if there is no need. And here you are expecting people to buy your amazing product which has a minimum worth of 30,000 without understanding if they need it. That's the reason why there is something called empathy. There will be no use barking at the wrong tree. Talk with customers, understand their needs, empathize with them, then find the customer who has the need. When you empathize, you will understand a bit about them and you can even create the need if they don't have one. Just imagine a stranger calling you out of the blue, explaining something and asking you to buy their product. What would you do? How would you feel? What would you think about that person? And what would you say? As I know completely about you, let me answer these questions. You would not disconnect the call as you don't want to be rude. You would feel irritated. You would think that person has no other work. And you would reject him saying that you would try it some other time. Isn't it true?
Yes, mostly.
See, I told you, for you to get sales, you need to empathize with your customers. And the first step in empathy is putting yourself in their shoes. You need to feel like them, think like them, and act like them. Once you understand them, then selling your product will be easier. All these months, you never used that little brain of yours and made your life a living hell. Don't worry, now I'm here, so I will set everything right.
Now my life is going to be even messier with this idiot.
There are many industries that have been affected by this pandemic, and the hotel business is one of them. Many hotels are trying their best to get back into business by offering various services and creating new revenue systems. But do you know what Hotels.com did? They took a different approach by asking people to stay at home. They created an ad to encourage people to stay safe at home. Though it is going to cost their business, they reminded people that more than their business, they value people's health and safety. They prioritized empathy over short-term gains, and that would definitely bring them a long-term benefit.
To say it all seems so easy, but I don't think this works out in real time. I have some hundreds of customers to call, and do you think it is possible to empathize with every single one of them?
You don't believe me, right? Let's do something interesting now. Take out the list of customers who have all rejected you. Let's empathize with them and understand why they didn't buy the product.
What? No way I'm going to call all those people and beg them again to buy.
Now first listen to what I am saying. To empathize with more people, we have a tool called the Empathy Map. Take out the list and let's prepare a survey form for all those people.
Vijay and Mr. K use the empathy map technique using the 4 quadrants: says, thinks, does, and feels. They frame questions based on these quadrants as follows. What do people say about the product? What do people think about the product? What do people do about such educational products? How do people feel about these products? Vijay gets surprised after looking at the responses from people about his product. People react in a very positive way about the product. This makes Vijay understand that the problem is not with the product. Then Mr. K suggests he do one more survey by changing the questions using empathy map technique. He once again frames the questions as follows. What do people say about calls from the sales companies? What do people think about calls from the sales companies? What do people do when they get calls from sales companies? How do people feel when they get calls from the sales companies? The responses to these questions act as an eye-opener for Vijay. He understands that there is a lot of negativity involved with the calls itself. People have various opinions about sales companies and they are not ready to trust a stranger. He understands he did not ever ask them whether they are interested or not. They got irritated because of his continuous calls, though they showed zero interest. Sometimes they used to be busy and Vijay used to call them during that time, making them even more aggravated. Seeing all the responses, Mr. K throws his helmet at Vijay, cursing him for messing up all the fantastic sales because of his lack of empathy. Mr. K gets irritated and leaves. Vijay gets really shocked after seeing the responses that there are customers who are willing but did not show interest because he called them at wrong timings and did not explain them properly. If he should have known this empathy thing earlier, he would have at least made 1 or 2 sales a month. He needs Mr. K's help now. He needs to get back to all these people and get his sales done. The only person who can help him is Mr. K. Unfortunately, Vijay doesn't have his contact and doesn't even know where to find him. He always appears out of nowhere and disappears into the thin air. Chapter 4. A problem or an opportunity. Vijay starts searching for Mr. K but doesn't find him anywhere. Being tired, Vijay comes back to his room to find Mr. K sitting comfortably on the sofa watching a cricket match. Vijay goes to him and starts begging to help him in getting those sales done. It has already been 6 months since Vijay has joined Company X, and within 3 weeks there is going to be the half-yearly revenue review and he is going to be fired. Though Vijay decided to quit his job, after doing the empathy survey, he got a little hope and he imagined how his life is going to be in Company X if he can survive for a few months and become a manager. A company flat, a yearly paid vacation for 3 days, tickets to the FIFA, etc., etc. Mr. K brings Vijay back from his dreamland with a smack and throws a booklet at him to study all the things that are there in that booklet by next morning. Vijay doesn't sleep the whole night and studies everything that is present in the design thinking booklet. There are a lot of concepts which are new to him, like root cause analysis, defining the problem statement, ideation, prototyping, and testing. He understands that to know why customers are not buying their product, though they have enough money, enough understanding that their kids definitely need an extra source to study apart from school, he has to do the root cause analysis. Next morning, he goes to his office and starts dividing all his customers into different groups and does a root cause analysis using the 5 whys technique to each of these groups. He finds different root causes, like he calling at wrong timings, trust issues with parents, financial barrier, lack of clarity, home tuitions to kids, and many more. He defines a problem statement as to how might I empower the customers to decide and buy our products in the quickest time possible, irrespective of their backgrounds. This how haunts him a lot. How might I talk to them? How might I make them buy? How might I make them understand? How might I create a need? How might I solve the issue of financial barriers, etc., etc.? He finds it suspicious that Mr. K did not appear for the whole day at all. During his sleep, Vijay feels someone choking him and asking him to find answers to the questions he had framed earlier in the office. He wakes up suddenly to find no one in his room. Then he sees Mr. K sitting at a corner and smiling at him. Vijay gets really scared at first, and after finding it is Mr. K, he relaxes and throws a bottle at him for scaring him. Chapter 5: A Meeting with a Dinosaur. Vijay shows all the work he has done and asks Mr. K to help him find answers to all his questions.
You had this handsome manager of yours who always had a frown on his face, right? How did he become a manager?
He was the top performer in the entire India out of all 35 branches of Company X. While he worked as a BDA, he did a revenue of 1 crore just in a span of 1 year and became the youngest manager in the entire Asian division. Of course, he's a psycho who is always after me, but honestly speaking, he's a talented guy.
So, tomorrow you are going to meet that talented manager of yours and explain to him your problem statements and ask him for help.
What? Are you crazy? I am so scared to even look at him. I am not going to ask him for any help.
Oh, really? Then the recording of you calling your manager a psycho is going to stir all the company's official groups with your name and photo.
Finding no other option available, Vijay meets his manager with his problem statements to ask for help. His manager gets surprised but takes some time to look at the notes that Vijay has prepared. The manager explained to Vijay that when the manager was at the early stage of his career, he was not so successful with the sales. He used to get lucky sometimes, but his life has changed. He heard about the name design thinking. One of his college seniors made him attend a seminar on design thinking, which made him what he is today. That is when he understood that any person to be successful in any field, be it sales and marketing, creative department, or software or anything, they need to apply the principles of design thinking. Because any role we take up, we have a customer. He has some needs. We need to do our best to give the customer utmost satisfaction. And this satisfaction is only possible when we use design thinking.
From your notes, I can understand that you went through the design thinking process. Now it is time to apply it in real time. You know what? Design thinking has this amazing feature called collaboration. That is what made you come to me, though you hate me so much. When you find someone who is good at something which you are not good at, you can always collaborate with them to get your task done. So, let's do some brainstorming together to see what ideas we can come up with.
The manager, Vijay, and a few other team members sit together and get a few ideas for which Vijay has to prepare a little bit and apply them when he makes the calls. Vijay feels that all these days he did not empathize with his manager at all. After hearing his story, he understood how it feels if the team is incompetent and how it affects the manager. Today, he is so happy that he got a few ideas to talk with his customers well and comes home excitedly to share this news with Mr. K. But to his surprise, K is nowhere to be seen. He feels disappointed and goes to sleep to be ready for a big day tomorrow. Chapter 6: An Eventful Day. Vijay starts the day with full enthusiasm and starts testing the ideas by calling to each of his old customers who rejected him. Of course, he did not get successful immediately, but he felt a little better than before. Now, when someone is rejecting him, he is not getting frustrated or angry, but trying to understand the customer's problem. If it is in his hands, he is even trying to offer the customer a solution. To gain the trust of people who are reluctant to believe, he made a few home appointments to go meet them directly to explain everything about the product. He did continuous calling for 2 whole weeks and booked a lot of home appointments. Every time he got rejected, he wrote the reason and scenario, and the next time he got the same situation with another customer, he performed better. Vijay has only 1 week now. Whatever hard work he has put in this week is going to show him the results. He started visiting parents at their homes, and a few got convinced and bought the product, whereas a few still didn't buy it because of various reasons. In the first 2 days of his visits, he understood that out of 10 appointments he made, only 2 to 3 will work out, and he decided to make the best out of those 2 to 3. To everyone's surprise, he made a good revenue in this 1 week and became the best performer for that week. He developed good personal relationships with his customers by empathizing with them and understanding their problems. Many people bought the product from him because of the relationship he has developed with them. He never gave any customer a single reason to reject him or his product. He didn't try to compare his product with other similar products in the market. He told his product's advantages and won over the customers. He understood one thing, that arguing with a customer is never going to get him a sale. He went through the half-yearly revenue review meeting. Though his revenue is not extraordinary, his manager has put in a few good words about him, which made him continue in the company. After getting this chance, every morning he woke up, Vijay used to take a pledge, saying, "Today I will empathize with my customers, understand and define the problems well, come up with extraordinary ideas, and do the prototype and testing of my idea. I am a design thinker and I will always be." He even wrote all these 5 steps of design thinking on a piece of paper and pasted it in his bedroom and in his office cubicle. One day, Vijay visits an apartment in one of his clients' homes, and he influences the customer so well that the customer invites all other flatmates and introduces them to Vijay. That day alone, Vijay made a revenue of 20 lakhs. This kept on going and his revenue increased day by day. In the next 6 months, he made a revenue of 1.5 crore, which nobody ever did in the history of Company X. Chapter 7. Time to say goodbye to Mr. K. Vijay is all ready to take up the manager position. But to become a manager, revenue alone is not the deciding factor. Luckily for Vijay, he trained his colleagues and juniors in design thinking, which made them perform better and increased the revenue of their branch drastically compared to any other branch in India. Ever since he started performing well in his job, he couldn't find where Mr. K went. He hates K but still misses him and his smarts sometimes. One day, while he is packing his luggage as he has to shift to Singapore because that is where the Company X's headquarters is present, he found the leather jacket and the helmet used by Mr. K. That is when he realized that Mr. K is none other than him. Mr. K is his alter ego who came to rescue him during his toughest times and disappeared right after the problem was solved. Now he understood how no one ever saw Mr. K apart from him. How Mr. K is never captured in any camera. But how and from where did Vijay get his design thinking booklet?
Oh, so it was Vijay who stole that book from his manager's office.